5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're on, right?
What's up, Elevation Nation? Coach Lisa here.
Coach Adam.
Coach Rachael.
We're coming to you today to talk about blocking. Excited to add some of our alumni in on this session. And our guest star, Coach Rachael. We're pretty excited to have her in the house. I wore the shirt specifically for you all today because you can make yourself better today. Okay, so let's all get some good stuff going on blocking. You guys have anything before we start?
No, I can't wait to see the messages from the alumni. It's gonna be
know.
cool, right? Like
You coached a lot of these girls, didn't you?
absolutely, and like old people like myself, like coaches love hearing from alumni.
Yeah.
Like we love to hear from you guys after you go off to college and hear what your experience is like and what life is like and what you learned and what mattered when you were here. So
don't
that's
you
a
like
cool thing.
talking about the kids on the banners too?
Totally
like,
agree.
There's always
Yes.
something to say about them. It's
Absolutely.
so fun, and I think all these kids have a banner except one, maybe. Lexi.
I think
Lexi
is
might be the only one.
Is hers up there?
Nope, she transferred, so she's got to get one from
That's
her
right,
goods.
that's right.
Everybody
Real
else is up
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So first off, I think we're gonna start with Sydney Mukes, right?
She's a baller.
All right, you guys ready?
Hi, Aaron. Hi, Sarah. I'm glad you guys are on. Shay, Elise, way to hop on here.
Sydney Mukes.
Hey everyone, my name is Sydney Mukes and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I went to Mount Notre Dame for high school and was in the graduating class of 2016. Wow, I'm getting old. But go Cougs. I then went on to play volleyball at the amazing University of LSU and was just in this current graduating class of 2020. Go Tigers. But throughout my club career, I played my ball at Elevation and was very grateful for all of the opportunities and experiences that I got while at that club. All of you that are there right now, you're learning under some amazing coaches that definitely know what they're talking about. So soak up all of the information that you can get while you're there. But throughout my career, I was an outside pin attacker, and one of my favorite skills to perform and work on was blocking. So I'm going to be giving you all a couple tips and pointers on how you can improve in your blocking skills. But it's really important as an outside pin attacker to make sure you're vocal. You want everyone on the court to know what's happening on the other side of the net, such as if there's a switch happening from the middle and the right side, make sure you call it out so that your blockers in the front row know and your back row knows as well. This will also help you as a pin attacker be able to be ahead of the play. Secondly, it's really important for us pin attackers when we go and make our move and we're up in the air to drop our right hand in the seam. A lot of times the middle may be late, so there may be a hole, or we may even be one-on-one, and by dropping your right hand low and over the net and press in the seam, that's going to help you block a ton of balls and get a ton of touches. It's also really important for any blocker to be physical through every blocking move that you make. Use your arms, get off the ground, engage your core, and hold long and strong in the air. The minute you let your core go, that's when another attacker can use your hands and tool you. So make sure with every blocking move that you do, you're explosive and you're holding long and strong in the air. But those are the 3 little tips that I would give you for pin attackers is to make sure you're vocal on the court so that everyone else knows what's happening on the other side of the net. Make sure that you drop that right hand low and over into the seam. And then third, every blocking move that you make should be physical and strong so that other attackers can't use you while you're in the air, but instead you can stuff their balls. But if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I hope all of your volleyball careers go great. But bye, everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything good happen at LSU this year?
Does anything good happen at LSU this year? Can you guys write that in the comments? Do you guys know anything about LSU? I think something pretty big happened at LSU this year.
Kinda.
Who's got it? Somebody
Kinda
make a
big.
comment in the comment sheet. All right,
Kinda big.
let's talk about Sid. Besides, how pretty has she gotten
Oh
over
my
the years?
gosh.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Gorgeous.
Do you remember when she was 16?
And she wore goggles.
Yeah.
And she brought it back home this year with goggles. Again.
Oh, I
She
love
did.
it.
She
I
did.
love it.
All right, so let's talk about pin blocking. What you got, Adam?
Sid was one of the best pin blockers I've ever coached. Everything she said was right. She and certainly embraced the opportunity to be physical, and her eye work was perfect. And I like all of her comments, especially the vocalization. The only thing I'll add is when you guys are vocalizing all of those things at the net, I would just encourage you to be more specific. You can't be specific enough when you're vocalizing those things. That's all I've got.
I think even talking as a team about what the specifics are help too, because probably your specifics are a little bit different than my specifics, and age group wise, the younger kids, working that ice scheme and talking about what you're seeing, so that maybe if it is a little bit later, you're developing into figuring it out, so that when you get to the older age groups, hey, I'm being loud, I'm being vocal, but I also know my eye scheme when I'm talking about how that pin blocker is setting the block, getting that middle to close.
I agree with you, Rachel, because as older coaches, it's so important to have that established at the younger age level, because there's so many switches that are made on the other side of the net. If we don't know where our hitters are going, how many times have you seen a middle blocker go up with the setter when they said there's 3 hitters? And they still go up to block the setter. But if you're vocal and you're talking about it and you're reminding each other all the time, that shouldn't be happening. And that, just establishing that at the younger age level helps with getting older. I liked her third one. I'm going to have to say I love the physicalness of a block. Sometimes we go up and try to take away space. And really, you want to go up with the mentality of, I'm going to be physical and I'm going to put up some monster block. I'm going to stay strong in my core. I like just the word physical. To me, that's just a word that describes a blocker. Who got it? Ella. Oh, good job, Shayna. LSU Beach was number 1. What else happened to LSU this year?
Wow.
No LSU fans. Hey, ladies, do we know any other sports besides volleyball? No, coaches, you're not allowed to comment. All right, that was awesome. Who's coming up next? I think we're going to have everybody's Instagram handles on here too, right? Were they on there? Yeah. So you guys go follow these girls and see how they're going through school and what they're posting. Maybe you'll get some tips from them as well.
Shayna back again.
Shayna back, yeah, that's right, Wolf. I'm glad it was a Wolf. You better know that LSU won football. All right, who we got next? We got Jordan Fry. All right. Oh.
Hi guys, my name is Jordan Fry. I'm a senior middle blocker at The Ohio State University, and today I'm going to review some fundamentals of blocking. So the first thing I'm going to go over is your ready stance. This is how you want to start before every block move. So if your team is serving, if you're in the middle of a rally, this is the position you want to replicate every single time you start your block move. So at Ohio State, we work on swing blocking and we focus on more of a narrow stance. So if you keep your feet shoulder width apart and then bring them in like half a step or a step closer, that's pretty good. But once again, we focus on more of a narrow stance, and it just helps us be more explosive with our first step. The other thing we focus on is being loaded. So you want to be loaded in your knees, you want to have a sufficient bend, and then you also want to be loaded in your ankles. So also like kind of having a little bit of bend in your ankles and just being ready to go. So just make sure you're low enough. Something I struggle with sometimes is getting up too high, but just being loaded is really important so you can be explosive and make a good first step and have a good block move. And then the setup with your hands, we just keep them straight in front of us. They're pretty relaxed. Just whatever's comfortable for you, but this is what our blocking stance will look like. And then we do a swing block. So with our first step, the thing we focus on is just covering distance. So a lot of times you can do a swing block, but if you don't go anywhere with your first step, it's going to be really hard to close to the pin. So for example, if I'm doing a swing block, I can shift my weight and move my hips, but I'm not covering any distance. So just like there, I'm not covering any distance with my first step. Or sometimes even if you lift your foot up and you think you're covering distance, you're just picking it up and putting it down in the same place. So once again, you're not covering any distance. So that's what we focus on with this first step. It doesn't have to be a huge step. A lot of times if it's too big, then your body weight is just not equally distributed and it's hard to make a strong move from this position. So from your ready stance, you want to take a step. This is pretty good. Just make sure you cover distance. And you want your body weight to move with your step. So once again, you don't just want to stick your leg out. That's not a very explosive or ready stance. So when I take my first step, my body weight's going to move with me. And I'm just maintaining this loaded posture in this loaded position so that I can make a strong crossover to the pin. The next thing we talk about, your crossover is where you cover most of your distance. And a big part of that move is what you do with your arms. So this kind of varies based off of what your coach says, but some coaches have told me just to really extend your arms and get them as far back as you can, and just have a big arm swing so that you can focus on going up and having a big vertical. At Ohio State, the set tempos are really fast, so we focus on shortening up our arm swing just so we can get our hands over the net as quickly as possible and put up a good block. So I'm going to do a block move this way about what it should look like. And then when you make your actual block move, Hunter, you come closer.
That's so
When you
cute.
make your actual block move, you want to be really strong in your core, and then also press over the net and press through your shoulders. One of the most important things is pressing over and not up, because if you're up but not over, the ball can just drain on your side of the net, and then there's no way for your team to defend it. So it's more important to press over versus getting high. Another really important thing is if you can't close the block, don't reach. So say my right side hitter is right here, I'm not closing the block. I don't want to reach like this. I'm not very strong in my core, my arms aren't very strong. The ball will probably hit my arms and fall on my side of the net, and then my team has no chance to defend it. So when you make your actual move, just focus on being straight up and over. And if you can't close, leave a lane and your defense can fill in behind you, and then they can set up just good positioning and read where the ball is going to go and read around the lane.
Sorry, I was a little wobbly. Not only was my arm getting tired, but I was like, yeah, good, Jordan, good.
Yeah. The enthusiasm is there.
Yes. Man, how much do you like Jordan?
I love Jordan.
She has come so far. When did she
So
start
far.
playing? In high school.
Was it her sophomore year?
Sophomore year of high school, Jordan
I had her
first
18.
starts playing volleyball.
I had her 18.
I think I still have her first video of the first time she took a lesson, the very first time she started playing volleyball. It was awesome. Now she's at Ohio State just rocking it.
Doing great.
What a stud. This is great stuff. I know you got a lot to say about this, middle coach.
No, she's good. She's
good.
I like how she spoke to her efficiency of movement, right? So nothing was wasted. Everything contributed to the final goal. All that stuff. I like the narrower stance. I actually like that because if the team you're playing is running middle too often, it's not a blocking issue. You're just not serving hard enough.
Right.
So I'm a fan. I thought she did well.
I think that first step, that is the biggest thing, especially for 12s and 14s. Working on that first step, making sure you're gaining ground. Mm-hmm. That's how you're going to be able to close your block. Your second two matter, but that one is
and it's
the
not
biggest
a step
one.
In place.
Right, because a lot of times it's the pick up, put down, and so getting somewhere, whether it's whatever sits with you. Sometimes I think I use the get a big first step, and then other coaches I think use push off that opposite foot. So whichever one sticks kind of with the girls, I think it's important to attack it at different levels so that they can, with different words, so that they can figure out which one kind of resonates more to make sure they're gaining that ground.
Right. I like hearing some different cues from these girls because I think that's so important. We all learn differently, and just those different cues is such a big deal. That's why I enjoy some of my kids having different coaches so they can get different ideas and just different cues on the same concept. You know, a lot of the stuff we do is similar here, but there are some differences, and that's okay. I think a big difference is what she was talking about in there was, you know, when we're swing blocking, a lot of times we think we've got to get these big old arms to get some major height. But I really enjoy that she even talked about tucking the arms up before they go over, so we're not hitting the net and we're not hitting anybody, but it's just it's a nice rhythm. I like that she said that, because a lot of people do keep their arms long.
And then she talked about the not drifting, because that's another big, especially for those that are progressing.
I love that. That was a big one. You know, how many times do you see middles like, oh, I got to close the
Yes.
block, and then they're getting tooled.
Right.
Instead, let us dig that.
Yes.
You know, if you're a defender, just stop that block, take away some space. I'll sit right in there.
Yes.
Because they'll hit it right to you guys.
Yes.
So as a blocker, let's not reach. Let's take away some space and let somebody, one of our awesome defenders in our club, dig that hole.
That's exactly the language I use. Your defense is going to set up around you. Your job is to take away a specific area of the court.
Right.
So maybe that is closing solid 2. That's our goal, right? But if we don't get there, your job is to take away part of the court so your defense can set up around you.
And it's cool hearing that even at Ohio State, because that's not something that, you know, we change. Like, we're doing that now.
Right.
And she's still learning that at Ohio State, and they're little harping on it and pounding it in their head at the collegiate level. And not just collegiate, like high level collegiate level.
Totally
So
agree.
yeah, this is so good, and I'm so glad we have different positions here for this. Okay, are we ready to go on? Good.
Yep.
So follow Jordan Fry.
Says Lexi Reinert.
You get to see her play at Ohio State. All right.
Hi
Hold your
everyone,
hands
my
steady.
name is Lexi Reinert and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I went to Ursuline Academy for high school and graduated from there in 2018. For my first 2 years of college, I played for Urbana University. Unfortunately, my school closed down this past spring, so I will be transferring to continue playing at Wheeling University in the fall, so excited about that. I am an upcoming junior and I'm a right side hitter. I've played for Elevation since I was 10 to when I was 18, so a very long time. I was very lucky to have the amazing coaches and teammates I had at Elevation. The coaches at Elevation are awesome. Like, they taught me so much. If I could tell you guys anything, it's to really listen to what they say to you, because they really know what they're talking about, and they will really help you grow as a player and a person. So I have some tips for you guys on blocking as a pin hitter. Blocking is a super important skill to learn, and it's definitely a hard skill to master. I'm still trying to master it now as a junior in college, so it takes a while. My biggest tip to you guys is to be vocal when you are blocking. As a pin hitter, it is your job to talk to your middle to make sure they close to you and help form a good set block. It's important that you talk to the middle about your hitter and where to line up on them, because they are focusing on 3 hitters and need help tracking them all and help closing to you. So being vocal is super important so that they can come and know where you are on the court or where the hitter is, so they can line up right and you guys can set a good formed block. Being vocal is super important in every aspect of volleyball, but especially blocking. Another tip I have for you guys is that when you are going to block, to be strong and really have your core engaged. It's also very important to face inside the court or towards zone 6 when you're blocking. It's important to make sure your body's facing inside the court, because if you're facing the hitter or not squared up to the court, it's easier for the hitter to tool off your outside hand as a pin hitter. So it is very important to keep your core strong so that they can't tool off your hand. And if you keep your body towards zone 6, it will be more easy to get a good block or a good touch off the ball than if them just tooling off if you're not facing zone 6. The last tip I have for you guys is to make sure that you watch your hitter and line up with their arm and her body rather than just watching the ball. I know it's important to watch the ball, like ball setter, ball hitter, but it's very important, like the most important part of blocking is to make sure you're lined up on your hitter. So it's very important to watch your hitter's approach, where she goes, like her arm. It's very important to line up on your hitter. So I just want you guys to focus more on the hitter and not the ball. That's my main thing for that point. The 3 major tips we went over. So the first one is to be very vocal when blocking, so you can help your middle out or whoever is blocking with you. to have your core engaged and face inside the court so you can't get tooled easily, and to watch where your hitter is facing so you know where the ball is going to go and you can get a better grip and be ahead of the play so you can block her better. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. I hope you all are doing well. So, thank you.
Yeah, let's follow Lexi on Instagram. We get to see her go to a new school this year.
So excited for her.
I know. You got to root for Lexi.
Absolutely.
She's one of the
Absolutely
hardest
have to.
workers that
Yes.
has probably been through the club.
Yes.
Couldn't
100%.
agree with you more.
Yeah, she did say from 10s. We didn't have 9s back then.
Yeah.
10s until she graduated.
Yep.
She had one of the elevation jerseys on. I don't know if she ever missed a practice. I don't know if she ever missed a workout.
I totally
No.
agree.
Every optional practice she was at, every
Yes. She was
Anything.
definitely a role model kind of athlete.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about right side blocking.
I think she hit the points all home again. Piking at the top is so important when you're on the pin. I mean, any blocker, but really getting there, getting that core engaged, being that, what was the word Sid used? Physical.
Physical, yeah,
Physical.
core.
Right. I agree. I liked all of her talk about everything happening off the ball. Little kids watch the ball too much. Older kids watch the ball too much. Find your hitter. Just do what you're supposed to do. You know, block the easy balls. Right, when they swing straight on, or when the set's low and tight, block the ball. If they hit high, flat, and deep off of you, your defense should be in a good position to dig it if you're blocking well.
Right. And again, that, watching where your hitter is, that approach angle, right? Sometimes these girls come in to hit a 2, and our pin blocker's still out at the antenna, right? And you're like, your outside hitter just came in to hit a 2. What are you doing out there? Okay, so that's the vocal piece, right? You gotta, and watching the visual, watching the approach angle. She just went in to hit a 31, 2, or whatever you call it, rip. Or she's hitting a 2. You gotta watch the approach angle. Love the consistency of vocal being number 1 again.
How about the core though? Like, so lucky you guys that we've been giving you all of the strength and conditioning stuff because every single blocker has talked about a strong core.
Right. Yes, our core should be ready to roll.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. Core, vocal, both of those were consistent, weren't they? Let's see if Brooke has any consistencies with that. All right, let's see if I can do this a little better.
In front of the camera, you go left.
I'm gonna go this way so they can see you too.
Okay. Just go ahead.
Hey Elevation Nation, my name is Brook Westbeld and I am currently a redshirt senior at Indiana University. I just recently transferred from University of Dayton, Ohio, where I played the last 4 years as a setter on a right side. I also was a setter on a right side at Elevation, where I played club my last couple of years too. So I'm super excited to go over some blocking cues with you regarding that position. I have a ton of notes here, so bear with me as I try to cram everything into this video, but some are from IU and some are from Dayton, and I think it's really cool to see some of the similarities as well as the differences because it only emphasizes that there's not just one way to do something. And what I've learned in my last several years of playing volleyball and having so many coaches throughout college, club, and high school is that it's so important to soak up all information from coaches because it only helps your IQ and understanding of the game because you're learning multiple aspects and multiple perspectives of each skill. So I encourage that anytime you get to do that, definitely soak it all in because it only helps. So diving right into this, your priority as a right side blocker is to be able to track your outside attacker and set up a really solid block for your middle to close to and your defense to play behind. As you get older and the level of play increases, you'll learn that you have to start helping out in the middle too. So for a right side, you usually help out on a B or a 31 or sometimes an A or a 1 ball if it gets pushed into your zone. But it's so important to get 4 hands up on the ball because it's usually easier to play behind a double block than it is a single block. So that's why it's so important for pins to be able to help out in the middle. At Dayton, we would actually talk about being good in the middle and great at the pins because even though you have that responsibility in the middle, your priority is still your pin attacker. So as a right side, if that outside gets set,
She is my 100% priority. I have to be up. I can't allow for a one on none or for me to get stuck on the ground and her be able to attack against no block. So she is my priority. Going into some of the moves, I'll really only emphasize swing blocking because that, I'm sure, is what most of you guys are familiar with. There's a couple of smaller moves that you can use against different sets, but swing blocking is really the most common. And so as a right side, your steps are right, left, right. Your first step with your right foot, your outside foot being towards the pin, and then your last two steps are your dynamic, kind of like a step close as if you're attacking. So if I'm attacking, I would go left, right, left. As a swing blocker, I would be going right, left, right. So notice that slow to fast is still super consistent between both of the skills. And this allows you to be really dynamic again and explosive when you're either approaching to a ball or doing your swing block approach out to the pin. And it gives you some rhythm as well, which is really helpful when blocking with a middle, because that middle can match your rhythm and you guys can then totally set up a nice solidified block where both of you are up at the same time. So the things that really differ from UD to IU with swing blocking, I've learned, are in the arms and what you're doing with that move. So your arms at Dayton, I'll try to show you this the best that I can, but your arms at Dayton, you want to have bent arms, kind of like a chicken wing almost. And this allows you to get your arms up super fast and over the net really quickly so you're not late. Indiana, we want to maximize your length and your athleticism and just how dynamic you are, and so we go back with our arms straight all the way and then really get momentum into our swing block move. So those are really the main things that I've noticed being different from each school. Your mentality should be the same across the board no matter who you play for, what team you're on, and that is, I am blocking the ball. So yes, you're taking up space. If you're taking line, your left hand should be on the ball and your right hand takes line. If you're taking cross, your right hand should be on the ball and your left hand in the seam. But regardless of all of that, you are blocking the ball. And it will show in any blocker. If a blocker is aggressive, you'll be able to know it in their move and be able to see that translation because they'll be aggressive versus passive. So always going up with a mentality to block the ball is a huge key. Communication is also big, just in general in our sport, and you should be communicating as a blocker before the serve and at any point that the ball is on the other side of the net, whether it's is the setter up or down, where your attackers are, you know, front row, back row, just anything that can help you and your other front row blockers and back row defenders defend the ball. So that, again, is super important. I think that as a setter, there are two keys that I want to emphasize, and one of them is playing off-block defense. If, say, a middle goes for a slide and she tips the ball over and I play that ball, I might be out as a setter, but I am 100% an attacker now. So anytime as a setter, being front row, you play the ball, you want to approach back off the net and attack and get ready to maybe hit a 9 or be a part of the offense somehow. Another key is when you go up, you want to come down ready and loaded to move in whatever direction possible, because you're up and blocking, you don't always know where that ball's going, or you might have a general idea, but you have to be ready to move in any direction possible. So coming down, loaded in your position, ball-shaped hands at your waist, just ready to be athletic in any direction. It's something that I still have to work on today too. So those are my two keys as a setter blocker, I would say. And then I hope you guys enjoyed and were able to follow the rest of the keys too, just in general for a right side blocker. And again, emphasizing that there's not just one way to do something. And being both at Dayton and at Indiana, I've definitely learned that there are so many ways to play this game. And throughout my life too, I've learned that. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I wish you the best of luck in your upcoming seasons, and I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy in quarantine. Thanks for listening, and as always, go Elevation Nation.
She's so cute. Oh, I like Brooke. Did she even mention that she was an All-American?
No, she didn't.
No.
That's what you like about Brook, right?
Right,
That's
right.
that's humility at its finest. Yeah. So Brook was an All-American at Dayton as a setter and a hitter. So she was just talking about as a setter, you have to be ready to go hit. You know, when somebody else is getting that ball. She definitely proved that at Dayton that she could also hit and became an All-American because of it. So I didn't think I heard it, but I was like, did I miss that somewhere?
No, you didn't.
And now she gets to finish her final fifth-year season at Indiana and gets to learn a whole new system of volleyball. And Brooke, if you guys don't know Brooke, she's kind of a volleyball junkie. So to her, learning a whole new system, she's eating this up.
Oh, totally.
I love it.
And so I guarantee you, Brooke has a few notebooks with everything that she's talked about with coaches, anything she's learned along the way. Brooke's taking notes. So I think she's going to really have a really good experience this year, you
I'm
know,
excited for her.
going to Indiana. And I did like that she said some differences. What was the biggest one?
The arms.
Totally, yeah. We were just
I
talking
know
about
that-
those chicken wing short arms,
Yep.
and they're dynamic in Indiana and doing, you know, longer arms.
Right.
Awesome. Just two different ways, different
Totally.
philosophies. I love that.
I'm glad she had a mentality. Like, I think that's like mission critical. Like without the right mentality, you cannot be successful.
Right.
It's all or nothing. Pass fail, right?
Yes. Definitely some big 10-foot plus touchers that don't get many blocks. You know,
Absolutely.
in my 23 years of coaching.
For sure.
And that to me was just a mentality.
Exactly.
I can go up and touch as high as I want, but if I'm not thinking, I'm gonna block the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. Which I think I wrote down a quick note about trends. So I think that's one thing that we haven't hit on, that all of the information they gave you then becomes even more successful when you're identifying things that teams are consistently doing against you. So in certain rotations, or hitters running certain options, or there's certain hitters that maybe they're setting regardless of if they're front row or back row. Are we talking, you know, it goes back to that vocal piece, are we talking about those trends and
Right.
identifying them so that we can be
Do
taking
you talk
things away.
trends with the younger kids?
Not with 12s as much as starting to with 14s.
Okay.
Especially, you know, if you're playing a team that's heavy on the middle or heavy on your pins. Like some teams at 14s are only setting their outsides because they're not strong enough to set back and they're not confident enough to set in the middle.
Right.
So what are those looking? Are they all over the place? Or are they pretty consistent out to the pin? And how do we line up and make sure that we're there and taking away good court every single time?
Now, at your experience of coaching older girls, how much more do you talk about trends?
Me? Her?
Both of you.
Oh.
Yeah, because you coach older girls.
Right. Largely, we use blocking as the tiebreaker. So
Okay.
the majority of our focus is in serve and pass and good decisions attacking.
Right.
But it is largely situational. So there are trends, and there are times where we switch blocks. Sometimes we'll put our undersized setter in the middle against their M2 and serve aggressively and have blocks in the pin. So it is mostly ad hoc, I guess. for
Right.
Specific instances.
So Adam, describe a switch block. What do you mean by that? Because I might not understand that if I didn't know you.
Oh, so sometimes if we normally run a 6-2, we have a very small setter, but we're out of subs and our setter gets to the front row. We might let our setter show like she's going to line up on the right side and slip to the left or the middle
Right.
and set out of the middle. That's all. So the blockers will switch.
Yes. Did any of you guys watch UC play in their Sweet 16? What did you notice with Armania? Do you remember?
Did she block out of the middle?
No, she got subbed out.
She got subbed out.
got-
The setter, 5'1" setter, got subbed out because they put a big blocker in.
Okay, now I do
And
remember.
Libero set.
And the
which is
libero
kinda-
set? Yes. It was awesome. And they made it to the Sweet 16. You don't get that far without
No.
being strategic and blocking.
Right.
Totally agree. I agree
sorry,
with the switching.
I kind
no,
of,
but
yeah.
like the switching, I think even there are times where at the younger ages it might be more reflective of who's hot.
Right.
So certain girls are athletic enough to do it all the time, but everybody has an off game and maybe they're struggling a little bit, whether it's offensively or blocking.
Right.
And I'm notorious for switching them around middles and rights when they can flop, or outside and right side.
Absolutely.
Hey, there was one thing that was consistent amongst all of these girls, Do you
Vocal.
remember what it was?
Vocal.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny how sometimes we think of blocking as just go up there and put your hands up and just go. It's all 3 of them said vocal.
Yes.
So all 4 of them said vocal. So that should tell you that's the number one thing across the board that's consistent.
That's good news though, because everybody can do that.
Yes!
Right? Like everybody's
Everybody.
capable of being vocal.
Absolutely.
Everybody has a voice. Use your voice.
Doesn't matter what your vert is. Doesn't
Right.
matter what your position is. Little
Right.
people, that means you too. Vocal.
Right.
Yes. What are we missing?
Subs.
What?
The submissions.
Submission.
Oh yeah, we did get some submissions this week.
Yes.
Yes. And is this for who gets the takeover?
I thought we already decided that. Did we decide that? Because we gave them the 2 finalists, and then we've got.
Oh yes.
You guys vote.
And we've already voted, right?
Okay, before we go into these submissions, I want to know from our audience, have you seen any of these 4 girls play in college? Has anybody seen them play at all? Maybe you went to a game or, because they all played this last year, and it's pretty cool kind of seeing some of our elevation kids out on TV and getting it done. Who have you seen play? Put it in our comments section, and then we'll go to our submission. Yeah, ready? Yes. Doing some footwork.
Yeah. Lots of
Good. Nice slant. It's making me tired.
Yeah.
Good slant again. Yes. I like that. Slant. Good 45-degree feet, Brooke.
Mm-hmm.
Right, left, right on the swing block.
Take your time to reset in between those reps.
Good call.
See, that's a like.
There's
moving
no,
through.
yeah, there's
get
no
to
change
X,
in
make
speed.
the move.
She was going around the basketball 3-point line. Good quick hands over the net. Brooke does a good job.
Great block though. See, there's a slant.
Yep,
there, right?
hit that slant. Yep, while you're doing that, hit that slant, girl.
So you reset.
Reset.
And then go.
Yeah. Ah, I
Good
like
for
that.
open.
Yep. Good static block. There's the slant. Back one.
Tight, yeah.
Yeah, tight. That was a good reset. Good 2-step, block the middle. Slant.
Right foot is in front. What do you prefer, right foot in front or left foot in front when you slam off?
I prefer left. Because I feel like it's so fast for a middle.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, here's Elise.
I like the reset.
That was a good reset.
Right, look at that tight core when she lands. She's got the
Pike.
shuffle.
Look
Good-
at her feet.
good
pike
tight
out a
core.
little bit there.
Belly buttons back to 6.
Looks like she's using some tennis balls or some
Shuffle,
kind of balls to press.
right, left,
right.
right. Third step finds the hitter. Look at that.
Hands press instead of
Shuffle
round.
left, right, left. So Brooke or Elise is preparing for Indiana. All right, she's got the
Yeah,
long arms
yeah.
going back.
They're not out of control though.
No,
Right?
I liked it though because
Yeah,
we did
I-
hear 2 different things. Shuffle right, left, right.
Yeah.
Way to
They're
get
long.
somewhere on that.
Yeah, I
second
feel like
step.
they need to get over a little quicker.
Yeah. Maybe you don't have to finish jumping to start penetrating the plane, right? For all
Right.
those big kids with big verts.
Yes, those were 2 very good submissions though.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And part of being a middle is footwork, 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 footwork,
So much.
footwork. Kind of like a setter, right? Footwork, footwork, footwork. You got to do it till you're blue in the face.
Yes.
And then keep going.
Oh, yes, we've seen Jordan Fry. Awesome. So we've been to Ohio State. Yeah, Amanda. Jordan on TV.
Sid, LSU versus Kentucky.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Anybody else see anybody? I need to go to Wheeling this year to watch Lexi.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's like in the mountains, isn't it?
they've got a great
Oh,
program
it is
down there for sure.
Awesome. We
Yes.
played there when I was playing in school.
That's fun.
Very fun campus.
Any comments on our submissions? Anything else?
Both very well done.
Agreed. I think footwork is, you guys can all control footwork right now. You don't need anything special. You saw Elise using the wall. I think that's great.
Yeah.
If you have a net like Brook, bonus, but using that tape off, I think I've talked to a couple of my girls about taping off that 10-foot line, especially for middles. So you're seeing how deep you're getting to make sure that your transition is effective and efficient.
Right. I think the one thing that no one kind of brought up was those fast arms over the net.
Yeah.
And I do think that is a point that we have to continue really putting in our heads is getting those arms over the net quicker. We want them over before our attacker hits the ball.
And before we
Catch
can-
up on the other side of the net.
Right. So, who is our takeover?
Elise.
Elise.
Elise!
Good job.
She gets to take over this weekend.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Yes, Elise. Everybody say good job, Elise. I think she was the first one on tonight, too.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm
bonus.
super pumped for you. Get some good stuff up on Instagram. Hey, talking about sand stuff coming around the corner, so let's get excited to start getting out in the sand here soon. We will be contacting everyone on that. I hope everyone is starting to get in the gym a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Good job, Elise. Everybody be ready for Elise on Instagram. I can't wait to see her.
Over the weekend.
Over the weekend.
Over the weekend.
Good. Elise, you better have fun with this, all right?
No pressure.
Is she the only one that's done a single?
No,
Did Dakota do single?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, good.
She did a great job too.
Yeah, she really did a good
Elise
job. You
made
did
a
it.
guest
Everybody's
appearance.
done a great
Oh,
job.
good. Yeah. I think that's it. Signing off
Awesome job. See
from
you guys.
Elevation
Bye.
Nation. Good
Thanks
job,
for
you
letting
guys.
me join you.
Yes.